Friends, Brian here for Yes You Can Play Guitar, and like the Nightwish fans lately, the Jinjer fans have been quite good, friendly, and supportive of my channel. And just like I did last week, I did a Nightwish reaction, got a lot of views, and I want to take a shout out to everyone who took the time to watch and comment by going through your comments and personally responding. I want to do the same for my recent video of my reaction to the actual video Mediator from Jinjer, okay? So let's get into it. Let's see what's going on here. All right, first one, Robert Smith. Robert Smith publicly subscribed to my channel. You know what, guys? I'm sure all of you, as I do, as a YouTuber, when I watch YouTube videos, it gets very annoying to keep hearing people saying, hey man, subscribe. As a rule on my channel, I really try not to ask people to do that. But when you hit subscribe, it makes a huge difference. You know, for the person that's put in the hours of work, and they don't get much return, but when they see their subscriber numbers go up, it's a really good feeling. It's very rewarding. So when you take a second and do that, it means a lot. Robert Smith. Of course, Robert, I want to ask, were you in The Cure? But, you know, did you ever see that video of South Park where those three great beings of the world, or four of them? One of them was Sidney Poitier, one of them was Barbra Streisand, and one was Robert Smith from The Cure, and they had these powers to, anyway. Robert Smith. The technical ability in this band, including Tatiana, of course, is absolutely top shelf. I totally agree. Blows me away. And her ability to put lyrics and melodies over such complex music. She puts the lyrics over complicated songs, or completed songs, sorry Robert, is amazing. Awesome reaction as always. Thank you. I love seeing people fall in love with this band just like I did years ago. Amazing band. One of the things that really sucks about being a reactor is if you want to do true reactions, you can't go ahead and buy all their music on Apple Music or whatever. You can't go ahead and watch stuff, because then if you do a review on it, it's not a true review. So I love Jinjer though, like totally blew me away. And again, there's a fellow early on in my channel that kept saying, hey man, you got to react to Jinjer, and I intended to, and for whatever reason I didn't. I owe him an apology because he mentioned that 2 or 3 times. PR. I tried Jinjer 3 years ago and I was hooked for life. And also I'm going to like and heart these. Thank you, Robert. PR, I'm hooked too, my friend. Harold Dominguez. Who is going to be the one live, please? You will enjoy what Romaine and Eugene do. That is excellent, Harold. I will look into that. What helps too is when people, as you guys know, the first one I did, so the first one, or the Alcatraz version, I don't know. I'm going on and I'm saying, okay, this is a live one that got a lot of views. I prefer the live performances. I don't like doing the actual video ones because sometimes you get issues with them being blocked. So anyway, when you can post one that has good audio and is a good quality, that really helps me out a lot. I really appreciate that. But I will look into that. James Moran. I recommend to anyone on the fence after listening to this reaction, go watch the original video. This reaction video introduced a weird hollow echo to the music, which made much, okay. That has to do, guys, when you use a screen capture technology. I'm going to contact the company that I subscribe to and say, hey, can you help me with the settings here? But it's really weird because, like, when I do it, I don't have a problem with how it sounds after, and I've got a pretty good ear. And then other people don't have a problem, they think it's fine, but then you get once in a while you get other people saying, yeah, it was doing this weird thing, or it was compressed, or I can only do what I can do. But I appreciate you pointing that out, James. Maybe it depends too on what you're listening to it on. I'm going to look into it though. Don't get me wrong, this was a very fun reaction with some very good points presented, but the audio of the band's performance was degraded. Okay. Francine McIntyre. Absolutely love Jinjer. They're my modern day Rush, and that is a big claim, and I agree with that. Neamore H. Vlad is awesome. He did most of the composition on their last album. I saw him pass in front of me in a festival last year. I wish I had said hello to him, but I was sitting with food and beer in hand. On June 10th, they have another concert that I will go to. Can't wait. Well, Neamore, I hope that you get to meet Vlad. That would be awesome. Steve Kaleo. Great reaction as always. I absolutely love Jinjer. So much that they are in my personal top 10 favorite metal bands. I have to say me too already. Of all time, and I've been listening to metal for over 40 years. All right, another old timer like myself, okay? I also love progressive, complex metal music, as I do, as I stated in that video. Another one of my all-time favorite bands is Queensrÿche. Fantastic band. A lot of drama, though. going on with after the split with Jeff Tate. But great band. I love Queensryche. Empire is my favorite album by them. A lot of people will say Operation Mindcrime, but I really liked Empire. I remember listening to them for the first time and absolutely loving them right away, just like Jinjer. Funny thing is, I personally do not like harsh, growling vocals, but Tatiana is something special. I agree. I'm not a musician, but my brother is. He's a drummer for over 50 years, and I took him to see Jinjer this past December, and he was just in awe. He said that they are one of the tightest bands he has ever heard, and their musicianship is phenomenal, and I totally agree. So when I posted that video of them playing Mediator at the Alcatraz concert, I could tell you guys that she was really struggling to hear herself, but she was still such an amazing musician that she killed it. The whole band was incredible. So, as always, more reactions to Jinjer, absolutely, and as always, stay metal, for sure. Absolutely, Steve. Sean Bryan, I think Sean's commented on a few videos, which is greatly appreciated, Sean. Their song Back Home was written after Russia initially invaded Donetsk back in 2014. That was the whole Crimea thing, right? That forced Tatiana, Eugene, and Roman to move to Kiev, where Vlad was already living there. The dissonance in the music playing drives home a feeling of anxiety and actually feeling of being dirty. Cap that off with Tatiana's lyrics were read from a child's perspective of a war zone. The OMV really helps drive the overall feeling of the song. You know, guys, I know a lot of you are new to my channel, and you know, I've been a musician, professional musician, for over 30 years. Guitar instructor for over 30 years. Although I post interviews with big names in music, I'm hoping maybe down the road to interview some of the members of Jinjer. I have a lot of guitar instructional videos, guitar tips, all that stuff. But for whatever reason, a number of people like my reactions. They like my perspective, maybe the way I go with things. I'm not a reaction channel where I'm going to jump on the chair and spin around and act silly, although I do act silly sometimes. But I just look at it from I was a working grunt musician playing all the dives in my region for a number of years. And I just give my perspective. And I've said many times in a lot of reactions, one of the things that separates a lot of the bands apart from the other bands, especially with the front person, because they have a lot on them that people don't realize. Like, they have to make you believe what they're saying. You know, when you can start to feel the emotions and believe what they're saying, that's really separates some of the best from the rest. And that's what Sean's saying here in his comment. It's a great comment, and thank you so much, Sean. Okay? Steve Smith, I love the passion that Jinjer puts into their music. Tatiana is such an incredible front woman that I think she could have succeeded in any type of music that she put her talents into. I agree. She chose a more difficult path of metal, which doesn't have the mass appeal that pop has. Very true. I am glad she went to metal because together they're creating masterpieces. Steve, I totally agree. You know, even if you look back, my first reaction to Jinjer, it's like, wow, oh my God, this is crazy, but in a good way. Gleb, and I talk about Tatiana too. Gleb Ivanov. Some wise reactor once said about Jinjer's music and about complex music overall. This kind of music sometimes demands from you some efforts to get it and handle it. But it's worthwhile because it gives you big reward once you handle it. This reward is bigger than reward from easy music usually. Okay, I could talk a lot about this. If we look at jazz music, okay, jazz is very complex. And often, you know, when I either have guitar playing friends or long time, if I have someone who's been playing guitar for a long time and they feel that they're in a rut, or maybe their head's getting a little too big, you know, I'll say to them, I'll say, study jazz for a while. It will really show you how small of a player you are in the world of music, son. And one of the things too is, you know, like jazz is a type of music where a lot of people don't get it, you know. When you listen to a lot of commercial songs, it's easy. It's easy for the mind to break down. It's in 4/4 time, so it's easy for people to move to it. The lyrics are usually something that a lot of people can just easily relate to. Yeah, I'm going to go drinking on the weekend, or, you know, my girlfriend left me and, you know, my pet dog went with her too. Where sometimes when you get into the more complex forms of music, which I like and I really appreciate, as I've stated, not only do I like complicated metal, I like complicated progressive music. I do like jazz very much, but it's an acquired taste, right? So Phil Collins once said a very funny thing about a Genesis hit from, I think it was from the Duke album. It was Turn It On Again, and it was in 13/8 time. And Phil Collins, who was a phenomenal drummer back in the day, by the way, he said about the song was actually in 13/8, so it kind of fooled a lot of people because every now and then they're kind of like trying to dance to it. Anyway, funny quote. I always got a kick out of that. But absolutely glad, very, very true. You're spot on. Hendrix131313. He publicly subscribed to my channel. Thank you. I'm from the early 60s and a musician, and I totally agree with you. The longer you're willing to deal with Jinjer, the more you will realize that this band is absolutely phenomenal. No question. Read more. For many, Jinjer is musically too complex, which I understand, sometimes also for me. Smiley face, but is absolutely worth allowing Jinjer in the same respect. I agree. By the way, for me, Jinjer is no metal band. Jinjer is so much more than a metal band. I agree with that too. Many thanks for your awesome reaction. You're too kind. Thank you. And maybe you can try if you can enable a better sound on YouTube. I'm going to look into that. Okay, as explained, has to do with my my capture technology. I'm going to look into that. Warm greetings from Germany. Until next time. There you go, Hendrix. Gay McCullough also publicly subscribed to my channel. Thank you, Gay. Thank you for that reaction. I have to admit that I'm one of the confused, but your observations help clarify things a bit. Well, that means a lot to me. Then my job's done, okay? I haven't paid much attention to any kind of rock music for 50 years. Deaths of Joplin and Hendrix so close together just destroyed me, and I quit listening. Very interesting. You'd be an interesting person to talk to. That whole thing about the 27 Club is quite something, okay? I just got back into listening. First through Disturbed, great, and mainly through Nightwish. Okay, excellent. Well, as we know that I've recently started a deep dive into Nightwish, and the Nightwish fans are very passionate. They have armies of fans in different countries. And they've showed up strongly to my channel, and they've been very good to me in my channel. So interesting deep dives that are going to be ongoing with that too. Going to a Disturbed concert this summer that also features Jinjer, and I'd like to be able to appreciate what they're doing, so I will be following all of your Jinjer reactions closely. Just don't forget about Nightwish, please. Man, how can you forget about Nightwish? Okay, so I've done 3 reactions to Nightwish, one with their original singer Tarja, and then one with Annette, and then one with Floor, okay? I'm going to be honest, Floor is kind of my favorite here, but we have much more to do with Nightwish. And you know what, guys? As I said, my channel, it's small, but it's not really small anymore. It's, you know, we're well over 20,000 subscribers. The bigger your channel gets, this is another reason why when people take that second and hit subscribe, the bigger your channel gets, it's easier to get interviews with these big names in music. I'm hoping to interview some people from Nightwish down the road, okay? Torbjorn Schoyander. You must react to Winter Sun. The drummer, Kai Hato, is amazing. He's also the drummer in Nightwish. He replaced the previous drummer because the previous drummer had issues with insomnia, right? So I think that's right. And what a lot of people don't know is when you are in those bigger bands and you have immense pressure on you to perform, it can really take a toll on people, okay? Start with the Son of Winter and Stars live studio rehearsal, okay. Kai have also a lot of drum videos on YouTube. And another you must react to is Opeth, Ghost Perdition live at Red Rock, okay. Now, I am somewhat familiar with Opeth back in the day. I have heard of this Red Rock performance, okay. Apparently it's legendary. I haven't seen it, but we will look into that too, okay. Friends, my channel is 1.5 years old, but we've only just begun, okay. Dave Johnson. I think it's funny that it's hard to keep a stream of thought after hearing something complex. Your brain is going 100 different places. Very true, Dave. Awesome reaction. Always remember that Napalm and general officials won't get hit. They love reactors. It's some of the live stuff where you might get the takedown, but that's the venue. Okay. Very much, Dave. I really appreciate it. Conditions Underground. Love them too. Make some reactions about them. Okay. Lovely baby Janine. Okay. Publicly subscribe to me. Thank you. I guess, as this is on YouTube, someone's told you that Napalm don't get artsy about people reviewing their acts videos. Well, it makes sense. I'm actually going to do a YouTube video very soon about copyrights, the life of a YouTuber, all that, and talk more in depth about it. There was an amazing bass player, I forget his name, but he did a cover of a popular Eagles song. And not only was there a copyright issue, like all my reaction videos, 95% of them, there's copyrights on them. I don't make money off them. I'm going to do a video about that very soon. And that's fine. It's the people that subscribe, the people that go to my Patreon, That's where you make a bit of money and you get your true support, right? But support's on different levels. People watching and commenting, this is real people taking time out of their day. And like I said in my Nightwish reacting to your comments video, that means a lot to me. I'm like, oh my God, my little channel, there's people all over the world that say, okay, I'm going to take a few minutes and write something. It means a lot, okay? It is a good showcase for the virtuosity and genre bending. So this fellow who did the bass cover of the Eagles song, I think he has over 1 million subscribers. And Rick Beato's been saying it all the time when you get copyright strikes. It's like, look, I'm promoting your music, which might almost be dead to the newer generations. I'm actually doing you a favor, but yet you're trying to make my life difficult. So, but I am going to do a video about that very, very soon, okay? Thank you so much. Lovely baby Janine, okay. Coder for Liberty. Great reaction. They have a lot of good guitar playthroughs that you could probably sit down and solo over pretty easily. Okay, that's an interesting idea. A lot of them here. He posts a link. Toddy does mess with her in-ears a lot, mostly on the big stages at festivals. A good monitor engineer is pretty important. Wedges or in-ear monitors. Extremely important. I'll talk about that in a second. I hate to think it, but it's possible after 15 years Toddy has some hearing loss. She does. I guarantee it. But she also, to my knowledge, doesn't have a regular monitor engineer who knows the band and their music backwards and forwards. If the festivals normally handle the monitors for all but the top bands, I can see why she would have problems at festivals with monitors. So this is kind of what happens from my smaller perspective, okay? So I'm a metal dude, okay? But as I got on in my 20s, I got tired of playing in metal bands at the time because just responsibility and lives were growing. And playing in metal bands, smaller regional metal bands, not like what Jinjer's doing now. Jinjer, I'm sure they're a profitable band making money, but they'd have a lot of expenses and all that other stuff. I went to the dark side. I did. Darth Vader told me that he was my father, and I said, okay, well, and he showed me the paternity test. So I started performing country music. I had to get a whole new guitar rig, new guitars, whole complete different ball of wax, but there was a lot more money in it. So I did that for a number of years. And I also learned to sing. And I actually found out I didn't have a bad country voice. I took lessons, I studied and everything, but I'm not a singer. Like I like to be known as a guitar guy. But often, you know, playing in a three-piece band, you play in a three-piece band because, you know, the less people you have to pay, the more money you're going to make. So when I needed to make money back in the day, you know, I remember being approached by a 9-piece band. I'm like, yeah, not happening. So, but I played a lot of festivals. I played a lot of shows. We had our own PA sound system. We had our own mixing board. We used to use, prefer to use the pre-auxiliary sends on our board, so you're getting the mix before it goes through the effects and everything. The EQing on the board always was way better than the post-auxiliary sends. Sometimes when these bands play at these festivals, you get what you get. For us, being a small little working band, we had our own setup and we could, but you know, there were some places. I remember this one venue in Kingston, Ontario, okay? There's a famous Canadian band from there called the Tragically Hip, and also, if you ever watched Yellowstone, the guy that played the sheriff, Donnie, was it Donnie? Hugh Dillon. He's a famous actor, and he also has a famous band, they're popular in Canada, called the Headstones. He's from Kingston too. We played at this club, and the sound guy, he would put a ton of reverb in my in-ear monitor mix, and I hated it. He was a big reverb guy. And no matter what you tell him, he wouldn't change it. And I remember at the end of the night, it just messed up my inner ears, and my head so much, I was literally almost throwing up, and I was so sick on the drive home. So Tatiana is so talented. As a vocalist, I'm not even 1/100th of her talent. How's that for honesty, folks? But that one at Alcatraz, but she was still so good that but yeah, monitor mix is very important. I will guarantee you that she probably does have some hearing damage of some sort. We could, you know, I did a video not long after my channel started. It's hard for me to watch my old videos now, like the lighting, the production, all that stuff, the way I talked. But I did one on having tinnitus, which I have, and I don't want to use the word suffer, you just learn how to deal with it. But I talk about that more in depth there. You might want to check it out sometime. But I would guarantee that she probably does have some hearing issues of some sort. Okay, and great post. Really appreciate it. Jim Morris, been a Jinjer fan for 3 or 4 years and appreciate your attention, and you know your stuff. Thank you so much, Jim. I'm also thinking of the movie The Rookie with Dennis Quaid, the guy that he was portraying. I think his name was Jim Morris, wasn't it? So he was like this high school teacher. He played college baseball and he hurt his shoulder, and then so he comes back as a professional Major League Baseball pitcher at 36. But anyway, so when I hear the name Jim Morris, that's what I think of. Would be interested in your take on the band Tool and their song Lateralus, audio only, another complex band. Okay, so I do like Tool. I was never a hardcore fan. I think Adam Jones is phenomenal at what he does. I think they're an amazing band. Some of the songs I really liked. I also like some stuff from A Perfect Circle. I vaguely remember the song Lateralus. I loved them. They were good. I wasn't a huge fan, but I really liked them and appreciated them. I'd be like, if it came on the radio, I'd be like, oh, cool, man, Tool. So, but we can definitely look into that, Jim, for sure. I appreciate you taking the time watching the video, for the compliments, and taking the time out of your day to comment on the video. It means a lot to me. John Thomason, thank you, thank you. Mediator is a great song, but it does take a couple lessons because it is so complex. Yes, it is. Certainly one of my favorites. Your views and comments are greatly appreciated. Cheers. JT, okay. Thank you so much, John. So that is a wrap for the comments on that song. We have much more to do with Jinjer. As I said, guys, as the channel grows, the easier it's going to be for me to get interviews with some of these big name musicians, okay? Jinjer's kind of starting to get up into the big leagues now, right? But I would like to interview them at some point on my channel. I've already done some big names with some people from metal bands, and if you can look past, if you look at my interview section on the playlist. But I really, really appreciate you guys taking the time to watch my channel. And I said before, when my channel first started, I used to take the time to respond to every single comment. When my channel was new, the volume of comments was much smaller. Now, even though it's still a relatively small channel, I get a much bigger volume of comments. So I try to respond to what I can, but I like doing kind of videos like this. This is a new thing where I can kind of give each one of you a shout out and say, hey man, hi, thank you so much. Hi from Canada, everybody. And I appreciate that you guys took the time. It really does mean a lot to me, okay? It's another show of support for the channel. I really appreciate it, guys. And remember, more Jinjer stuff coming up soon. Practice hard, but practice smart, no excuses. And we'll see you soon, my friends.